You are now listening to a 302 Birds podcast experience, proudly powered by Tick Pick, Cutbet, El Diablo Burritos, Nick's Pizza, and Klondike Kate's on the heart of Main Street.
Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of 302 Birds, the season finale of season 5. A depressing night for our Eagles. That's for damn sure. We did not want the season to end like this. We'll get into our sob session in a second. But for a quick second, I do want to, give everybody a little bit of an upbeat. And I personally had the petition this week that we should build a statue right next to the one of Doug Peterson and Nick Foles outside of the link of this man right here, Aaron Jones, the Dallas Cowboys killer. I'm pretty sure not once, but now twice, this man has taken them out. And look, well, Eagles fans and Cowboy fans, I think it's fair to say, are on pretty level playing ground for the rest of the offseason, right? At least our fans aren't this salty that we are sending the NFL a letter asking them to overturn the game. I know every team has its fans, but Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Welcome to another episode of 302 Birds. Like I said, thanks for joining us. We are going to hop right into our call-ins. We have one of my good friends, Alex from college, joining us, who's actually a Packers fan. But first, I'm going to hit that El Diablo intro.
What do I want when I'm in the state of Delaware? Of course, El Diablo Burritos. Customer service always is serving your food with a smile on their face, asking how your day is. Their food is phenomenal as well. Their burritos are out of this world, one of the best burritos in town. Their queso is phenomenal. Their burrito bowls are amazing as well. When you're in and around Delaware, stop by your local El Diablo Burritos and tell them that 302 Birds sent you. God bless your birds.
What's that saying, about love? Love prevails, right? Well, you know what? Love has prevailed last Sunday, and we're heading into the Monday good with love prevailing even more. So, 302 Birds podcast, my boy Dalt, thank you for having me on this beautiful Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody, by the way. Just such a fantastic day to celebrate such a great man, and another even fantastic day to celebrate a great win by the Green Bay Packers. And I got to tell you, man, this win was so sweet to my heart, and it meant so much to beat that fat, gelatinous piece of shit, Mike McCarthy, and knock him out of the playoffs. I call Mike McCarthy the Grinch that stole Aaron Rodgers' career, the Grinch that stole the Packers' prime. And now, you know what? Mike McCarthy may be working at your local Chevrolet dealership in a few weeks. So I think he's going to get fired. I take great pleasure in being the team that was able to knock him out of the playoffs and put him on that unemployment line. And you know what? Love prevails is the theme of this lecture here, ladies and gentlemen. Love prevails because when your fan base loves your team authentically, they will prevail. And all we know is all those Cowboys fans for 30 years, long years, said, you know what? We're going to go back. We're America's team. You haven't even been past the second round in 30 years. And you know what? Aaron Rodgers transferred the deed of the house of the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium to Jordan Love and Aaron Jones. And oh my God, boy, oh boy, did they live it up. And guess what? Niners have had 3 weeks rest. The Packers have been locked in, dialed in, dun, 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 boom, boom. And guess what? You know what? I have confidence. I still believe that we could win. Go Packers on Saturday night at 8:30, but also Cowboys are frauds.
And there's that.
Anyways, look, this has been probably the most peaceful past 48 hours of NFC East I think I've ever experienced. I mean, am I mistaken? Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree?
Yes, because everybody's in the same boat.
We all fucking suck together. Exactly. I think Ashley put it best. And before we go round robin, let's see what some of the other NFC East is feeling.
Eagles can join me, over here on the couch.
Currently in Jamaica. I've been sent to Cancun after week 12. Go Commanders, and I'm really happy that Baker Mayfield and Jordan Love exist. So, yeah, hope everyone has a great day, and go Commies.
Just getting out of work right now. It's probably about 8 or 9 degrees out in Brooklyn. I'm freezing my ass off, but that does not matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Because I saw the Cowboys get eliminated in spectacular fashion, and then one day later, I watched Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers eliminate the Eagles in spectacular fashion. Sirianni might be gone. Division's wide open next year. It's Caleb Williams season for the Commies. I'm so glad the Birds and the Cowboys lost. And maybe next year will work out for you guys. Maybe it won't.
Where do we begin? First of all, thank you, Kelce. And NFL fans, listen up, okay? You're telling me to go down to Cancun on vacation? I'm going to Cancun in March. I need time to recover before I go on a vacation, because if I go on vacation, I'm still going to think about it. But thank you, Kelce.
Wow. A wide variety of opinions there, for damn sure. But look, we could have been, in Cancun since week 12, like the Commanders, right? Like Nico said. So I guess it could be worse.
Yeah, but they have a good draft pick now. I would have rather had the draft pick if I knew that this was going to happen. After that 49ers game, I feel like we were all just like, all right, the season's kind of done. I mean, that's an overreaction, but okay, maybe after the Giants game, maybe after the Cardinals game, we really took a shit there at the end of the season. We might as well have just been in Cancun week 12.
Right? Yeah, like all cuddled up on the couch together. I mean, it's very fitting that we all get to watch the rest of the first round too, right? Like the two biggest teams to talk shit get bumped first round, Dallas and Philly. Did it compensate at all for any of you guys that the Cowboys got knocked out first round? Did it make it that much sweeter?
Well, the first 24 hours were fun, and then I realized I got to wake up and watch the Philadelphia Eagles play football on national television too. So it was fun for a little bit, and then karma's a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I was there. I saw multiple people that they said, who are Eagles fans, said, I'm not posting anything about the Cowboys until after the Eagles game. And that's why I was very, very quiet, because I just had this sinking feeling that we were going to be in the same spot come Monday night. And unfortunately, that's the case.
Did anybody drink their pain away, or did anybody drink and sit in the shower at the same time? I've kind of been doing all season. No. What's the Delco way to celebrate, Tom? Just getting bumped out first round.
I wouldn't call it a celebration, Dutch. What I would call it is, I would call it a drowning of sorrows. Yeah. I think our one Delco friend, because he can't have beer, it'd be more stateside vodkas. But for me, I've discovered that Yards has a whole variety pack of different Philly sports team themed beer. So I had Philly Standard, which is the one that's with Kyle Schwarber. So
yeah.
Oh,
was it any good?
Because we did not play to the standard, as Jalen likes to say.
Hey.
But, that's besides the point.
All I gotta say is it's silver lining. Yeah, we were bumped out the first round, but this gives us more time to get those coordinators that we want, that we need. We got the shit end of the stick last season with these coordinators, and I really think you saw what happens when we have shitty coordinators and how we don't – the players don't want to play for the coaches. So I think this gives more time to pick and choose good coordinators. I don't think – like we said, Sirianni's could probably be back next year, but, I mean, it's nice to have a better picking for coordinators for sure.
I think there's a report today, actually, that Sirianni is reported to be staying. And they're actually looking for new coordinators, offensive and defensive. So love to hear that. That's great news. And I'm sure we're touching that later in the show. But, like you said, Jack, this is the best time of year to lose, I guess, because now we do have the options of all those coaches out there rather than waiting until after the Super Bowl. So hopefully it works out this year rather than last year when we got clearly the bottom of the barrel.
For sure.
It's going to be an interesting one. But we'll get more into our depressing soap opera of the Philadelphia Eagles and our football team later into the podcast for you guys. I said we're going to try to keep it upbeat. Once again, thank you to El Diablo for sponsoring that segment all season long. We really do appreciate it. You guys are fantastic to work with. If you haven't been to any of the El Diablo locations throughout the state of Delaware, please take yourself and see what it's like to experience heaven as far as Mexican food. If you're listening to us on Facebook, please do me a favor, drop a share, drop a like, as well as Instagram. We're on many different outlets tonight, and we're bringing it all home to you guys, talking about our Philadelphia 76ers. It feels like the Sixers and the Flyers have kind of taken the city by storm and been like, you know what? The Philadelphia Eagles suck. You people need something to watch. You people need to be entertained. And this kid is probably going to win Most Improved Player of the Year. It's funny because this graphic is actually from about a year and a half ago when Tyrese Maxey first really started coming into his own for the Philadelphia 76ers. And we thought, oh, wow, this kid's good. And now what he's transitioned into, that the fact that he's that real superstar, we don't need to go get that superstar anymore. It's really refreshing. And I really think that this is a new era for the Philadelphia 76ers. Like Matt said, he sold me on it last week. You got to get on the train, man, like he kept saying. And I really agree with him. I think it's the right time to get on the train. Choo-choo.
Yeah, the boys are stepping up. And Tyrese Maxey's stepping up. And we said this, week in and week out whenever we talk about the Sixers. I mean, they're just so different this year. Embiid dropping back-to-back 40-point games against, one against, the Rockets, and then the other against, the Nuggets, going against the, reigning or the previous MVP before Embiid last season, and just completely dominated. 40 points, what was it? Eight assists and 10 rebounds or something like that. He's just going off. And the thing is, Shaq said it earlier in the season. He's dominant in games that don't matter. So now we just need to see him dominate in games that do matter. And hopefully he can stay healthy into the playoffs. And I think if he is, then this is going to be a fun ride for him.
I'm happy, though, that you said that, like Shaq said, he's dominant against the shitty teams. The people with low basketball IQ, they say they love to make that argument. He's a free throw merchant. But, like, he did it last night on the biggest stage against the reigning NBA champions and Nikola Jokic, two-time MVP, who actually went out and partied after at McGillen's in Center City. My buddy works there, so he got to meet Jokic, which is pretty cool. He's a cool dude, but we got the real MVP over here.
Yeah, but okay, so you're saying he showed up on the biggest stage, but then when you have to start playing him in 5 to 7 game series, we've seen it year in and year out, he doesn't show up. So what do you see Decker this year that's different from the other years?
I mean his like you said, you were given his stat line, dude. 10 assists. When have we really seen that from Embiid? Like, his playmaking's always been solid, but this year, like I've noticed a big difference in his playmaking. Like he's averaging, career highs all around. Not just efficiency and everything, but his playmaking's great this year too, and just getting his teammates more involved. Tobias is coming on now, and we see Maxey without Embiid, and it's definitely not the same Tyrese Maxey. So that 2-game show they got going on, it's something special, and it's only we're only going to keep building on it. And he just needs to stay healthy, man, for the playoffs with Nick Nurse. Anything can happen.
Yeah, totally agree with you guys. It's been super exciting to see him really come into his own, and I absolutely cannot wait to see him hopefully really help carry this team into the postseason.
I'm hoping so too.
Do you guys think that we trade for another star at the trade deadline, or do you think we're sticking with the starting 5 that we have in the bench?
I would stick with, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I
say we stick with
Siakam and OG go. I really, one name around is Zach LaVine, but I think we're gonna be fine with her team. Maybe go for a little bench upgrade. I don't think we're going to see anything too serious. But you got to go all in right now in Embiid's window and his prime. This is the best year he's having. If you got an upgrade available and we got the first round picks to make it happen, I say you go for it, Daryl.
Yeah. I think a pleasant surprise, and we haven't really talked about, is Patrick Beverly. He's lighting it up from 3-point. It was a couple games ago. He dropped 27 points or something like that. He's that bench piece I feel like we needed. He's that dog that PJ Tucker was supposed to be, but actually he's contributing more offensive and defensively than PJ Tucker ever did. So it's like we got a big upgrade with, in the dog department of the 76ers.
Taking a page out of the Philadelphia Flyers book, it feels like. I mean, these guys have been playing some really good puck, which is a beautiful segue into our next segment, which thank you to Tick Pick for always sponsoring.
He shoots, he scores! Time for Slap Shots with Zep. Flyers talk from 302 Birds.
It's been a while since I heard that horn. And you know what? I'm not going to say that joke, but you guys probably know what I was going to say. I'm ready to watch some hockey. Put 2 and 2 together. This kid, though, this new goalie has really, really stepped up for the Flyers. He's kind of been the force that's led the team on this stretch. You look at this kid saving stuff, and the Flyers have had real inconsistency as far as goalie goes lately. Years, I'm talking. First, we had, the Kata Hot thing, and then he's in, and then he's out. And then I forget the other guy that they had. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He pivoted in and out. And now this kid, Urson, who I had no clue who he was going into this year. I really think that the Flyers ought to trade Kata Hot now and get what they can out of him. I don't know how much you can, but it's been nice to kind of see somebody step up besides some of the, offensemen in Philadelphia. It's been a while since I feel like we've had a solid goalie, so it's nice to see.
I'm going to full-heartedly disagree with you, Dutch.
Take it.
I think Carter Hart's been phenomenal. I think Harrison's also been phenomenal. I think we have a good problem in that we have 2 good goalies, but Harrison has been on fire since the beginning of November. He has one of the highest save percentages in the league since November. He's doing something that is unheard of in Philadelphia Flyers history since they brought in the shootout after the 2005 strike season. And he's won shootouts. The Flyers are in dead last all-time record in shootouts. And he's actually brought this team to life in shootouts. So I love what Harrison's doing for us, but I full-heartedly disagree with you that Carter Hart's been terrible for us or kind of been in and out. He has an autoimmune disease apparently, so that's why he's out a lot of times during the winter months, unfortunately, but is what it is. But I would say he's still a solid goalie. 1 week, Harrison won goalie of the week. Next week, Carter Hart's winning it. Next week, Harrison's winning it again. It's just 2 great goalies, so it's a great problem for the Flyers to have, and something I hope they keep both of them, honestly.
And I don't disagree with you, too. What you're saying, there's facts to it. Like the offensive line in football, the old, tall tale, it's good to have depth. And I do see the fact of what you're saying. It's good to have depth at goalie. Goalie's, arguably the most important position in hockey. And, this guy really leads the team. I just think, like you said, and like I said, it's a problem. It's a good problem to have, but it's a problem. So if you could pick one, could I ask you which one you would pick if you were told one of these guys is traded? Would it be Urson? And does anybody know the age difference? Because I'm going to assume he's younger as well, right?
Urson's, I think, 24 or 25.
Oh, they're right around the same age then, actually, I bet. Because Kata Hart's probably 25.
I was about to say,
26.
Carter Hart is still extremely young.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a patient poison.
Urson's 24, Kata Hart's 25. So, like Dalt said, good problem to have, and it doesn't make your decision that much easier because they're close in age.
If you had to go with one, Decker, who are you taking?
Oh, don't put me on the spot, but dude, with a name like Kata Hot, I mean, that name's perfect for Philadelphia. I'm going solely off the name. I'm
All
going off
right,
the
hey, respect.
yeah.
Why are you making a face, Jack?
Because he's going off the name. I don't know. I mean, I think I would keep, whoever's had the hottest streak and then trade off the other ones. But I don't think we're going to get rid of either one. Like we've talked about before, like we have depth, on the off days for Carter Hart, we can put in Harrison and we'll be confident in that. I feel like the past couple of seasons when we would sit Carter Hart, we didn't have a good backup goalie. And that's kind of a problem to have. But now it's a good problem to have. So it doesn't really matter to me. They're both playing pretty well this year.
Agreed. We'll see how it transpires as the season moves along. Headed into our next topic, we don't want to talk about this, but it's something we definitely got to talk about. That wild card weekend for our Philadelphia Eagles. Let's just knock it out, rip the Band-Aid off. Baker Mayfield, I mean, absolutely gave it to this team. There's no other way to put it. And Baker Mayfield is not that impressive of a player. I'll give him his flowers for this game. He had a great game, played well. All credit to him. But I think that this next game, we're going to really see who the Bucs are. I actually don't mind the Bucs. I'm kind of rooting for them. I think that they're a fun team. I think that they're built deeper than most people will give them credit for. They went on that Super Bowl run a couple years ago, and I think that that's why we struggled so much. But this team, when you look at going into the beginning of the year, if you would have told me that the Eagles would have lost to the Buccaneers in the wild card round, I would have told you were crazy. Looking at the power rankings, I think I had the Bucs like 28-30, and of course I had the Eagles 2 or 3. That, I don't care what went down during the season. Your starting QB still in, your starting wide receiver still pretty much healthy. That was a decision to take him out. You got dismantled. You really need to go back to the drawing board, look in the mirror, and figure out where the hell do you go this offseason as a whole with coaching. Because as much as you guys may want to say, hey, give Nick one more year, this, that, personally, timing is of the essence more than ever now. And it could be 1 year too late. That's what I'm trying to say. And I didn't really like Nick Sirianni when he first came in. I liked him, of course, the Super Bowl year, because how can you not? You can ask anybody on this podcast. I've always been critical of our coaches. Doug Peterson was the same way. But the thing I can't stand the most about Nick Sirianni is the childish antics. And that's why I really think that, when your starting quarterback is telling you to calm down like a kid, like in the Super Bowl last year, that was actually the moment for me that I was like, you know what? We made it here, but, we might have made it here because of the team, not the coaching. So I personally am all for coaching change. It didn't sound like the players were today, like Matt highlighted earlier when we first started out the show. But, I mean, what a fucking way for Kelce to go out, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just think I've never seen a team give up so much in this game. We had the last touchdown they scored. We missed a tackle, and then we didn't seem to go after the guy. And it just I'm not sure what turmoil is going on in the locker room, but it just seemed after that loss to the 49ers, like the whole team was against the coaching, and they just didn't want to try at all. And I mean, seeing a legend like Jason Kelce get emotional on the sideline brought me to tears, because this guy's been through, ups and downs of this Eagle franchise for the past 13 years. And the fact that they went out so poorly to the Bucs of all team with Baker Midfield, just come on, guys. I literally think we ran the same fucking 4 plays. We had the 4 verts. We had a halfback dive. We had a wide receiver screen. I think that was it. And obviously didn't work out the first half. Why would we do it again? So we just didn't have a scheme on offense. And I mean, it goes to show, I don't know, is homeboy Jalen Hurts, to blame for this game that he didn't have a locker room? He's the general on the field. I just think I don't know where to go from here, because I never saw a team give up so quickly like they did after the first touchdown was scored.
It was sad. It was right away. They just said, we're not going to win this game, so why are we even going to try? And like Jack said, that moment of Jason Kelce walking off was incredibly emotional. I mean, I don't know how you don't get emotional at that, because we knew and he knew. Obviously, there's jury's still out if he's coming back or not. You know, we're pretty sure he's taking his final snap, but we knew that this was his last shot at a Super Bowl, realistically. And we had everything going. I texted Dalton near the end of the game, and I said the first 10 weeks were great, because those first 10 or 11 weeks were so much fun. But after that, it has just been terrible to watch.
But were the first 10 weeks actually that fun? I mean, I look back and I feel like every single week we were like, this team sucks. we're like, we shouldn't have won that game. We shouldn't have, like. I really think that there was one good game, and it was the Dolphins game. Other than that, it was like this offensive play calling's trash. The only reason that we're good is because the players are good. I mean, it really does seem like this season we were frauds the entire year. We almost lost to the Patriots. We lost to the Jets. We should have lost to Kansas City. We should have lost to the Bills. We should have lost to Dallas. We should have, there's just so many games that we should have lost, but we didn't, and we got lucky. So I didn't have that much fun this season. Yes, we were winning, but it really was just destined to be a shitty season from the first week in New England. I don't know. There was this team didn't have swagger this year. They didn't play with joy. I don't know. From last year to this year, just crazy. I don't know. So different.
Yeah, going off what Matt said, even though we were winning, we weren't really having fun. At 10-1, that team was definitely a lot closer. I mean, things went our way. We eked out some wins that we probably shouldn't have won. That team was a lot closer to 7-4, I would say, than like a normal 10-1 team. And just the vibes were definitely off this year. Last 5 games of the year was a roller coaster going down, but this I was just sick and tired all season of hearing the comparisons between this team and the team that made it all the way to the Super Bowl. Like, those are two completely different teams. Like, it it wasn't even close, and the vibes were just not good this year.
Vibes were ass this year.
Dutch, I think what frustrates me most about this game is you look like you went in there without a plan. Like, I don't know what Jack said it right. They run the same 4 plays every game with Brian Johnson, and they line up in such a predictable way. Like, when they line up one way, they're running 4 verts. When they line up in the bunch formation, trips to the left, it's going to be a wide receiver bubble screen. When they line up and it's just kind of like a split set, it's going to be a quarterback draw. Like, it's the most predictable thing. And I don't even make $100,000, and I can figure. And I'm not an NFL I'm not an NFL coach. I'm not a coordinator, and I can figure out their offense. Brian Johnson just needs to be fired after that game. He needs to be fired after the atrocious 7 weeks he had. And how do you go in, week out with the same exact play calling and 0 answers, and every team's doing the same exact thing against you? Like, the Buccaneers said what they were going to do all week, then come the game, did that said thing, which was blitz the crap out of you, and you're running 4 verticals. Like, when you watch that game, your receivers are quite literally still running downfield, and Hurts has to get rid of the ball. Like, if you know they're sending the blitz, why wouldn't you run routes that, are, short yardage at first, but there's no one there to stop them after they catch the ball, and they'll run for forever. Or like to me, Brian Johnson just isn't that guy. And quite honestly, he can't think past 1 + 1. And like he'll write down the formula, but he can't solve it for you.
Yeah, and then the last thing, and then we can move on. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Jalen Hurts was playing scared all game. Granted, I know has an injury, but when he would throw the ball, he would go away from the ball. He wouldn't like go forward on it, and it would be incomplete pass or short pass. So I just don't know. Like, did not know how to catch up on the blitz, even though they said going into the game this is a blitz heavy team. So I just don't know, where we go from here. But all I know.
I was gonna say I turned the game off with 5 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
I have never in my life been more frustrated watching an Eagles game, and I think it's just because it was play after play. Like, what the hell are you doing? James Bradbury, I've never seen such a shitty performance from a defensive player in my entire life. I think he literally let up a perfect passer rating whenever he was targeted. I think I saw that stat somewhere. It's just it's absolutely crazy how bad he is. And I mean, Avonte Maddox clipping Eli Ricks on the like when they're crossing in the middle of the field. It was just like, did you even practice this week? Like it was so bad. And so it was the middle of the fourth quarter, and I was like, I'm done with this.
Or even Avonte Maddox blowing coverage on a pass that Baker Mayfield just tossed up for a Hail Mary, and it was a touchdown.
Oh yeah, and then everyone's like Baker's such a god. I'm like, no, that should have been intercepted.
Yeah. all I gotta know is this is gonna be an emotional offseason because that could have been Jason Kelce's final snap. So let's talk about that and our feelings, our emotions about losing somebody like Jason Kelce.
Before we get into that, though, sorry, Decker, you've been one leg away for 2 weeks in a row now, right? 2 weeks in a row.
Yep, missed
Are
by
you depressed
one.
yet?
No, because I hit big tonight. But you know what the next parlay, the best parlay is? It's always the next one. All right, fellas, it sucks. We can't bet on the Eagles this week. I mean, it might be a good thing, save us some money. But all right, first one, Bucks at the Lions. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. I kind of think Lions definitely take care of this one, and I really don't think the Bucks are that good of a team. I think kind of going off Matt was saying, Baker's a god. I think the Eagles just expose themselves. So I'm expecting a high-scoring game in that game. And then Amon-Ra, St. Brown Tutty. He's that guy, man. He's been the guy for the Lions all season long. Laporta's healthy, but he's coming back, but he's a little banged up. So I definitely like Amon-Ra. And then, man, the game of the week, I have no idea who's going to win, but I think great value in teasing the Chiefs in a 6-point teaser to +8.5. And then going to complement that with 5+ Rashee Rice receptions. Rice has definitely been the number one wide receiver in Kansas City, and he's kind of more of a part of that offense right now than Travis Kelce is. And then two boring lock of the centuries, Ravens money line against the Texans. CJ Stroud's been a great story, but that Ravens team is just loaded top to bottom. And then CMC touchdown. He's the biggest lock every single week. So $100 turns into $715. We're not going to miss by one this week, fellas. I got bar tabs to pay, not bills. I got to pay for the bar with this.
I have a question, Decker, and
yes.
I've been thinking about this.
Okay.
Taking the Ravens as your lock, I don't necessarily agree, because the Ravens rested their starters the final week of the season, so they've had 3 weeks of rest.
Yeah.
And we know what happens when teams have 3 weeks of rest. Sometimes it does not work out for the best. I mean, we can look at the Braves and the Phillies.
Yes,
I know it's a different sport, but having that rest can really throw some things off. Do you think it would be worthwhile to put the Texans money line there? The odds of that bet would go up.
The odds would be juicy, but I don't know. I kind of think in that case, maybe I think you could get some good value on like first half with the Texans, especially if the Ravens come out starting slow. Because the Ravens were the 1 seed the first time Lamar won MVP. And like Matt, the same exact point you made, they came out slow and they lost that game, I think, to the Bills. So
yeah, I mean, what has Lamar done in the playoffs? He's done nothing in the playoffs.
You're right.
So
and the Ravens usually are a second round out.
Oh shit! We're starting to debunk Decker's locks.
Be careful, Jack. You're dating a Ravens woman. I don't know how she's gonna feel about you talking shit like that.
She's might not always be too good to be true, right?
Hey guys, right now I'm taking the Texans money line right.
Wow, Matt fired
right
him up.
now.
Matt
right
fired
now,
him up.
right fucking now.
CJ Stroud, man.
Well, Jack takes the Texans money line. We have kind of a big thing going on here, guys. I don't know if you guys know, and Ash, I guess she's not feeling well. I do want to take a second on our season 5 finale as well to highlight everything that Ashley does for our podcast. Seriously, I want to give her a round of applause. Everybody join me. I mean, Ashley puts her blood, sweat, and tears into this podcast to make sure all of us cats that she herds, us chaos, she coordinates it and does a phenomenal job with it. But we got a championship, baby, with some trivia. So without further ado, let's
Time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dordan, the mayor of Delaware.
Guys, season finale for the trivia for season 5. Let's fucking go. Thank you to TickPick for that sponsorship. Tonight's question we have for you is, which Philadelphia or which Eagle, who had the most interceptions for the Eagles in a season with 11 interceptions? Who had the most interceptions for the Eagles in a season with 11 interceptions? A, Asante Samuel, B, Bill Bradley, C, Troy Vincent, or D, CJ GJ? Lock your answers in right now. We'll give you the answer at the end of the show.
I get. Why even answer?
Tom,
I know Tommy's going to cheat.
What?
Tommy, you have the updated scoreboard you put in the chat?
Yeah, I
you
put it in the chat.
Scoreboard
you
in the
need
chat.
me to read it all for you? I'll go to it now. I'll read. Hold on 1 sec. I got to pull it up. Shit.
Actually, no, I got it.
Okay,
right.
I was about to say fans have 6.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You want me to go? Fine. Fans have 6.
Yeah.
Maddie 7. I have 8. Dalt has 6. Josh has 3 because man's a no-show all the time. Ash has 7. Sean 5. Decker with the solid, and I mean a solid and proud 2.
Yes, we did it, Mom.
Wait, Tommy, I'm 1 behind you. If you get it wrong and then I get it right, we tie.
Correct.
That means you should not. You're going to use Google because you're a sore loser. You're going to cheat.
I already sent my answer in. I sent my answer.
Yeah,
I know Tom. Tom is raised on integrity. He won't do that. Tom will not lose his pride.
Jack,
he
did I not send it to you right away?
He knows that he cheated. He's a good guy. He's from Delco.
He sent it to me at 9:07. 9:07.
Wow, on the dot. You saw that question and you answered immediately. That's impressive.
Matt, you didn't send it to me, sir.
Yeah,
I
like hearing your voice when you ask the question because you always fuck it up.
Oh, okay. So,
all right. So we're going to need to install truth detectors next season. So if anybody wants to sponsor our podcast and has the budget for that, please let me know. But I mean, in the meantime, we're going to need to find a budget for finding a void for this guy. As you highlighted earlier, Jack, how many times have you cried in the past 24 hours, sweetheart?
A lot, and it's for Kelce and then other family issues that are going on. This is tough. This guy is Philadelphia. He is the heart and soul of Philadelphia. We all remember the day of the parade in his mummer suit, and this man, blood, sweat, and tears, was prospected to be not in the NFL. Worked his ass off. Was tight with Stoutland. And this is really sad. Ever since I've been watching the Eagles, Jason Kelce was on my TV. So filling that void is going to be tough, and it is going to be a emotional day for everyone in the NFL if he were to retire, because they did like a brief kind of, video on TikTok about all these players that played against him, saying he's the best center in the league, his athleticism, all this shit. And the fact that this guy brought us our first Super Bowl ring, I hold it near and dear to my heart. And seeing this guy, go on, move on, is definitely emotional. And it's not going to be the same watching football next year without him if he chooses to retire. So I'm very upset and sad. But I love you, Kelce, Jason Kelce. You're my heart and soul of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I hope for the best for you.
You can make a good argument, not just the most likable Eagle of all time, but legitimately he probably is the best Eagle of all time. Best center of all time, man. 13 years. Our bread and butter over the past couple of years, we've had some lean years in there, but our offensive line, and I really think I don't even want to think about football next year without Jason Kelce, but you just see how important having an offensive line is for your entire team's success, protecting the quarterback, especially having a mobile quarterback with Jalen Hurts. And, we're going to see what this could change if Sirianni's back, this could change our whole playbook next year, because he might not feel comfortable running the tush push as much or as frequently, with like a guy like Cam Jurgens behind there. And Kelce and his wife have done so much for the city. So thank you, Jason. You're a legend if you retire.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was saying, I turned the game off early, and then of course, later in the evening, I started seeing all the pictures of him crying on the sideline. I was like, shit, I missed that. Like, are you serious? Me being petty, and I missed all that. But no, he's without a doubt my favorite Eagle of all time. And, what he means to the city and what he means to, me and the kind of person that he is on and off the field. That's just the kind of teammate that you want on a team. And it's going to really suck not having that kind of leader. And I know that we're only talking about Jason Kelce right now, but you're also looking at guys like Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson. These are all guys that are considering retirement, and those are all leaders of a team that brought. Those are the last 4 or 5 guys that brought us to the Super Bowl, other than Jake Elliott.
Goddard.
And Goddard. No, Goddard wasn't on the Super Bowl team.
He wasn't.
No, he wasn't. He got drafted he got drafted that season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, we're getting to this point where our childhood Eagles are gone. Like they're wrapping up. And and it sucks that the first one's Jason Kelce, because if I could see him play another 3 years, like I know he can, he's still the best center in the league, and he's doing this for his health, and I would rather him go out on a healthy note rather than having a career-ending injury, because he is getting up there in age, and just if he does for some reason listen to this podcast, thanks, Jason. I can't wait to meet you one day somewhere.
And on a high note, too. I know it's one bad game, but as a whole for the season, immaculate play in All-Pro, I believe, yet again. So I do agree with Matt's point. It's not like he's coming out like some of these other players. I love Jason Peters, right? Another one of those guys. But he's that guy that's like, nah, I want to play until I suck. I want to collect every check. And I think that there's something to be said for going out on top. But you need to be sure that now's the time. So I do want to say, too, shame on Adam Schefter. I get that you're just doing your job, man, but you got to let somebody like Jason Kelce break the news himself. And you should know, hearing from the locker room, what that means. I thought it was extremely unprofessional and unfair for somebody like Jason Kelce to work his ass off like that all his years in the city, and to have to go out that way. But that's a story for another day. Meanwhile, we're talking about what we got upcoming. Free agency is now the next topic of discussion for our Philadelphia Eagles, which is hard to say. I don't want to be talking about free agency the second freaking week of January. This is more of like a second week of February kind of topic, but it is what it is. Point being, we have over 20 free agents, including DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, Julio Jones, Boston Scott, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and more. Obviously, Brandon Graham has came out and said he would love to come back on his farewell tour if the city will have him. I think that would be a great addition. I think he's going to come back on, a pay cut. But at the same time, you got to look at it as a business too. Like, even if he's a pay cut, is he still going to be a starter, or are you going to start using him as a rotation guy? I think that's kind of the avenue that the Eagles need to go down these next couple of years. These older guys that are still going to stick around on these minimum deals, Cox, BG, that's great, but start decreasing their role with the team, if you see what I'm saying. You need other players like Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick. Those guys, I think they're pretty good, and they've exceeded expectations as a whole. But I think this season, we're kind of underwhelmed, at least I was, with the defense as a whole. So I'd really, really like to see their roles increase. I think Nolan Smith should be getting some more playing time so we can kind of decipher whether or not what the fuck to do with that. And last but not least, I'm going to be the first to say it. I personally was not impressed by any, I think, of the Georgia players this year, except for Jalen Carter. Jordan Davis, I know he's been hurt, but it kind of feels like that was almost a waste of a pick. I really was lobbying for Kyle Hamilton that night. Jack remembers it. He was next to me. And now looking back on it, Kyle Hamilton's an all-pro safety for the Ravens. And maybe last year, Kyle Hamilton maybe was not what we needed. Jordan Davis was playing better last year. But like, for the long-term impact of your team, this team now has spent so many first-round draft picks on defensive line and interior defensive line specifically, that you have these two washed up old corners, you have no linebackers, and if you're not getting home pressure in the first couple of seconds, you're exposed. So I think that this whole team is going to need a clean slate as far as free agency goes. And like I said, for those veterans, you need to decrease their role.
Yeah, I mean, I think immediately off the bat, Swift has to stay. Got to try to find a way to get him to stay. He was so good for us. And for some reason, I mean, we didn't even run the ball with him as much as I would have liked. And if we did, he would have easily been, he was top 5 this year in rushing yards. I mean, if we ran the ball even a quarter more than we were supposed to, he's easily top 3. Got to find a way to bring him back. He really elevated this offense when we were using him in the run game. But other than that, every name on that list, I am like, they can go. Kevin Byard, he was terrible for us. Shaq Leonard, he didn't do anything for us. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, they're old. We got to get younger. We got to get faster. We got to get more physical. All 3 of our linebackers, other than Nakobe Dean, they're going out. Cunningham was terrible. It's just, yes, we have a lot of free agents that are leaving, but they didn't do much. They really didn't contribute much, but again, it's going to start becoming a rebuilding year, letting all of these defensive players go that were playing but didn't contribute to what we needed them to be successful. It's going to be an interesting offseason because there's going to be a lot of moves that need to be made, and we're going to have to bring some of these people back because, we need to have a defense. We need to have players on defense. We can't draft them all. So there are going to be some that come back, and I'm not going to like it, but in my personal opinion, they can all go, and I just want to keep Swift.
I'm excited. I'm excited for this offseason because I think Howie's going to, look at last offseason and realize, kind of the mistakes he made on defense. And I think we're going to get a lot younger all around, and hopefully we can invest some of that draft capital into some of the positions that, Howie hasn't shown that he's valued in the past, such as a linebacker, cornerback, safety. But who's to say that Howie's just going to change in one offseason? I mean, you have to learn from it when you're wrong. But yeah, hopefully this offseason, we see a completely revamped, younger defense and, address the positions that we need.
How about as far as coaching goes? I mean, obviously, offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator are in need, but we kind of touched on it earlier in the podcast. There's been some battles on Broad Street looming, players lobbying for Nick Sirianni. How are you guys feeling as fans with, coaches like Bill Belichick out there? Harbaugh, no, not about it.
No, so Jim Harbaugh, he just interviewed today with the Falcons, I think.
The Chargers.
Oh, Chargers, yeah. So I don't need Belichick on my team. He took a Super Bowl away from us back in 05. Yeah, he's legendary coach, but he's old school, and we need to be new school. But I just think now that we know that Sirianni is staying for another year, we just got to invest into these offensive coordinators. I'm sure someone's going to come out in the later months about what happened in the locker room, why the players didn't play like they were, playing with their all. But I mean, I really don't know who I would want, but we just goddamn need new coordinators because that was just pitiful on the season. How the defense played, how our offense played. So I don't really have somebody, maybe Rabels or somebody that has a defensive mindset as a head coach, put him as defense coordinator. Whether or not he'll take that, I don't know. But that's all I got to say.
I posed this question to our listeners on TikTok. Two previous Eagles personnel have been let go this year, Deuce Staley and Frank Reich. And to me, both of them would fit that offensive coordinator position perfectly. Deuce Staley was extremely respected within the organization, and we passed him up to take Steichen, which is acceptable, and Steichen did a great job for us. But I think bringing him back would be fantastic. And then you also have Frank Reich, and Frank Reich was our offensive coordinator going into the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl back in 2018. And he clearly was not a good head coach, and that's okay. Some people are good head coaches and bad offensive and defensive coordinators, and some are great offensive and defensive coordinators but bad head coaches. I think it would be really interesting bringing someone back to our team that the players are comfortable with, at least the veterans, because they know the culture that they want, and hopefully they can foster that.
I think Matt's really onto something with that too, because let's go back to 2018 when we brought in who was our defensive coordinator. I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden.
Jim Schwartz, right?
Yeah, Schwartz.
Yeah, Jim Schwartz.
Yeah, he was a terrible head coach for the Lions. He was just a terrible head coach in general. Oh, but he is one of the best defensive coordinators there are. Look at what he's done for the Browns. The Browns were the best defensive unit in all of football this year. He's a phenomenal defensive coordinator. Here, I look at a lot of championship winning teams, and a lot of championship winning teams, when you look at them, they all of their position, maybe specific coaches could be head coaches. Like look at the Phillies in 08 when they had their first base coach, their base coach, pitching coach, and all that. All were former managers at one time with Rich Davey Lopes, and then you had the head of the managers essentially and Charlie Manuel. Oh, with Doug Peterson, you had Doug Peterson and Frank Reich, who became a head coach. You had Jim Schwartz, who was a former head coach. They all kind of get they're top of their game, top elite. Last year we had Steichen, the guy who we will not mention, and we had Sirianni. You need guys who are of that caliber. Brian Johnson ain't it. Sean Desai, I think, is a very smart guy, but he's not a leadership quality person. That's just not his personality. He's that guy that knows what to do, knows what to call, knows how to adjust. We saw that with the injuries and lack thereof of personnel this year. He knew how to adjust when need be, and he was winning us games. And I think he unfairly got scapegoated, but because of him being scapegoated, he's out. He's gonna be replaced. I don't think he was necessarily the problem. That being said, I would love that's a long-winded way of saying I would love to see a Vrabel like come in, be our defensive coordinator. He's got the pedigree of being a great head coach, but he's top of his game when it comes to defense. We'd love to see Frank Reich come back, like you were saying, Matt. And like, I think that's the type of pedigree we need.
We need head coach. Oh, go ahead, Dagger.
Sorry, for just real quick for coordinators. Let's learn from our mistakes and take coordinators that actually have NFL coaching experience. That's all I got to say. And not take a flyer on these rookies. That's all I got to say. Brian Johnson.
What? Tommy, you agree with me again? Holy shit. That's crazy.
Jesus Christ. This show is dragging on. If Jack and Tom are agreeing with each other, oh my God. With that being said,
time for everybody's favorite part of the show, 302 Trivia, with your host, Jack Dalton, the mayor of Delaware.
We got a win in the crown, baby.
Thank you to Tick Pick. Thank you. Okay, so tonight's question we had for you is, who had the most interceptions for the Eagles in a single season with 11 interceptions? A, Asante Samuel, B, Billy Bradley, C, Troy Vincent, or D, CJ GJ. And, I'll give you the answers, and we can go from there. So, without further ado, I'm going to go out and say it. We have a tie.
Oh, fuck. Dude, Tom,
No. I lied to you. Fuck you, Matt.
You such an ass. You're such an ass. My heart just dropped. I was like, no fucking way.
So, Matt said Bill Bradley. Correct. Tommy said Bill Bradley.
Damn
it. Tommy is the champion of this season's trivia. Dalton said CJGJ. Wrong. And then
that was obvious.
Ash said A, who is Asante Samuel. Wrong. And then Decker said A, Asante Samuel. So your season 5.
Wrong.
Your season 5, and I think he's the reigning champion is Tommy Cutlets. Ballpark Tommy is your season's winner. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Fuck you, Tommy.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
And we're going to have to figure out what the hell we're going to do for our trivia champion. I think we're going to have to figure out some kind of a belt. Maybe we'll all put in a budget or something when we all get money in like a year or two, thanks to the current economy. But I really think it would be cool if we had some kind of a trivia championship belt that we could then ship to Tom. It sounds like it's going to live at Tom's house, though, maybe season after season with the way that this trend is continuing. But regardless, congratulations.
I don't know. Ash did well the last season. She was the champ last season.
She did give you a run for your money. That's for damn sure. But I do want to take a second to thank everybody for tuning in with us for a whole other season. It is hard for me to believe that we're going to be on to season 6. I do want to reinforce we're going to be taking a break next week on the podcast. I need a much needed break. It's been a long season for myself. I know Ash needs a break. She's been hustling. And these hosts need a break too. So we're going to take a week off. We're going to reset next week. I have a bunch planned for season 6. You guys won't believe it. New segments, a new show format, a new way for people to call into the show. Season 6 is really going to be the make or break season for 302 Birds. So you guys are going to want to tune in for it. But I do want to thank everybody who rocked with us. I want to thank everybody who came on this show as a guest this past season, contributed their time. Their opinions, their efforts. It's truly, truly a community now that we've built. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'm done with my sob story. The Eagles season's fucking over. I'm glad that, it's wake me up when September starts for that fucking team. And we'll see you next year, Eagles. But until further ado, I guess I got to go get my fucking Phillies jersey out of the closet because me and Tommy got some fucking baseball to bet on in a couple of weeks. And the Sixers, man, They're playing really well and giving some of us a reason to bet. So like I said, make sure to download the Sharps app earlier. There's a new way to bet on there. Me and Matt will get you guys hooked up with the code. Shoot us a DM. I can't remember it off the top of my head because I'm dyslexic and I don't want to get it wrong. But if you text me, I'll send you the directions on how you can get on the app and help us out. And if you're in Delaware now, check us out too. Shoot me a message because I may have a little way that you can come hang out and bet with us too. So check it out. You guys know what it is. I'll kick it to Jackson to do what he does, though, and wrap up this amazing season.
Yeah, thank you for everyone who stuck through us through this season. I really do appreciate it. We appreciate it as a team. But without further ado, I'll be short and sweet. Let's go, Lions. Hey, Josh, it's an outro, not an intro. Hit that motherfucking outro.
Matt, nice try, but on the gym.
Matt is sick. He's so mad.
I'm coming for you next year, Tom.
You wish, buddy. Matt likes to eat hot dogs the long way.
I hate hot dogs, actually.
That was still